Good evening and welcome to 10 Band TV's presentation of PIHL Hockey. Tonight, we are south of Pittsburgh proper in South Point, Pennsylvania at Printscape Arena, where the hometown Peters Township Indians welcome the Mount Lebanon Blue Devils. I'm Matt Gajtka. Thank you for watching. Tonight's game brought to you by Steel City Spine at steelcityspine.com as we roll along in this Peters Township season in their title defense, both in the PIHL and overall in the state competition. Peters Township, for the first time, will skate in front of their brand new, or at least revamped, championship banners that you see at the center of your device screen. Peters Township winning the Penguins Cup last year with a victory over Seneca Valley, and then defeating Malvern Prep from the east side of the state to win the state championship. 6 state championships now for Peters Township, and they get to come home for the next 3 games after starting their year with 3 on the road in this title defense attempt. Last time out, we saw it here on 10band.tv. PT ended a 3-game road stretch with a dominant 6-2 win over Cathedral Prep. This was last Tuesday night up in Erie. The Indians haven't played much so far. In fact, they're tied for the fewest games in Class AAA out of 11 teams. They've played just 3 times, but they've scored plenty when they have suited up, and last Tuesday was shining example of that. They've averaged nearly 5 goals per game, in fact, in their 3 contests. They've beaten Pine Richland, they've lost to Seneca Valley in a tight one, and they have beaten Cathedral Prep. So the Indians at just 2-1, but so far they're right up there with North Allegheny for the top spot in terms of goals scored per game. In fact, only North Allegheny has scored more per game than Peters Township to this point. I mentioned nearly 5 per outing for what is usually a high-powered squad for Coach Rick Tingle. Last week, though, was a combo of the usual names delivering. Guys like Will Tomko with a goal and an assist, and also Ben Kovac, his line mate, with a couple of goals. But also we saw newbies coming through at the varsity level. Luca Maeda and Troy Jones each scored their first varsity goals early on to get Peters Township off and running. PT also netted 2 power play goals on 6 opportunities, while blanking the Ramblers on 9 chances. And, well, speaking of high-powered offenses, Cathedral Prep had put some pucks in the net, but not so much against Peters Township. In fact, just getting the 1 until late-game garbage time. So a wonderful effort on all sides of the coin for PT last time out, including special teams. And this is a team that usually doesn't play games that are very penalty-laden. As for Mount Lebanon, the Blue Devils coming into tonight's game having played 6 times already, so twice as many as Peters Township, but they've won just 1. They started with a 4-1 win against Cathedral Prep, but since then the Blue Devils have sunk to 5 losses in a row, all in regulation time. And in fact, last Tuesday, Mount Lebo was right here at Printscape Arena, where they lost 5-3 to Cannon Mac in a back-and-forth game. Gates, Wilcox, and Shin all scored in a span of just over a minute to help Mount Lebo grab a 3-1 lead in the second period, but the Big Mac struck back with 4 consecutive goals to take the win. In his first varsity start, senior goalie Brennan Horgan allowed 5 goals on 28 shots, but we expect to see Austin Martin, the senior goalie, back in net. He's been doing it since he was an underclassman for Mount Lebo, and so number 50 should be between the pipes for the visiting team tonight. Mount Lebo graduated its top 11 scorers from last season, so really a rebuilding year if you look at it realistically for head coach Jeremy Church and his staff. The top returning scorer, Sawyer Klasnick, just had 3 points in 19 games last season. So it's about the newcomers. It's about guys who can step up. As for right now, we've seen the senior, Speed Stasiowski. That's right. His name is Speed, literally, and he has 6 points and 4 assists, both of which lead the team. Leading goal scorer for Mount Lebo so far is Jacob Lehman. On the Peters Township side, Will Tomko has 9 points. Tops among all Indians in his 3 games played, so averaging 3 per game. We can do the math quickly. 4 goals and 5 assists. And Bren Kovac has 4 goals as well. He's tied with Tomko for the team lead. Austin Malley, who returned from injury late last season, he's off to a fast start again like he was last year before he was forced to sit out for a while. He has 3 goals in the 3 games to this point. And I mentioned Troy Jones and Luca Maeda also on the board this season. Tonight, though, we're looking at a new starter in net for Peters Township. We've seen Nolan Hilbert and Kyle Thomas each split the duties so far. Hilbert's got a couple of wins, and Kyle Thomas played well in defeat at Seneca Valley. But tonight, it's going to be the sophomore, number 68, Ethan Williams, who gets the opportunity here for Rick Tingle. So we're looking forward to seeing how Ethan fares in his first start and getting an opportunity here in varsity play for the first time. As always, early in the season, you see some of these moments, whether it be players scoring their first goals or getting their first starts, or in this case, seeing his first varsity action overall in Ethan Williams. So we'll keep an eye on him as we look forward to what's to come here. Mount Lebo trying to break out of this slump, and Peters Township trying to keep it rolling after they scored a very encouraging win on the road. Now they get some home cooking at long last, and they will face North Allegheny next week. So the competition certainly picks up here for PT. Tonight we'll see what Mount Lebo has and determine where exactly we might see the Blue Devils finish. Last year, they made the playoffs. They went 12-7-1, earned the 4th seed in the Penn's Cup playoffs, but lost at home in the first round to eventual Penn's Cup finalist Seneca Valley. And these two teams are very traditional teams in the PIHL. In fact, the two of them have combined for 11 Penguins Cup titles. Peters Township has 7. Mount Lebo has 4. They got the second one ever way back in 1976. Most recently, for Mount Lebo, their last championship was in 2006. Also the last time they took the state championship. These two sides split a 2-game set last year. These South Hills rivals, as we're set to face it off at Printscape Arena for this 9 o'clock start, late night action in the South Hills. Again, this is Matt Gajtka. This is 10band.tv. You can access it on Roku, as well as just on the web at whatever device you might be able to conjure up. Also, Amazon Fire TV. Here is Austin Malley feeding it over to the far side, and picking it up is Kobe Ringwald, filtering it ahead. Malley tried to make a move at the line. He was denied by Callan Wilcox, the junior defender. Put out in front, out to the line, and forced to be pulled out to center ice was Ringwald, as the pass was a little too far away from him. Opening shift of this game, Peters Township attacking down to our right. Mount Lebo flips it in just wide of the goaltender Williams, who decides to hang on to it and stop the music here, not taking any chances in his first minute of play at this level. Players for Peters Township tend to be more ready to go than other players. This is such a massive program, all the way down to the middle school level. You have to compete for roster spots at the very start of your career with the PT program. So I'd like to think that does prepare players for the rigors of action. Here comes Ryder Mertens pulling it in. Mertens trying to pass it in front. It was blocked right back to him. Score! Ryder Mertens tried to go to Camden Martin at the side of the net, and instead the pass bounced right back to him off a Blue Devils defender, and he puts it in from the left side of the net. Opening minute of play, Peters Township leads at 1-0 over Mount Lebo here at home. Take a look at that replay. Mertens, the captain, had both Martin and Troy Jones, who scored last week, ready and waiting at the doorstep, but the pass never got through. And for poor Austin Martin, nothing he could do after that dish was deflected. Essentially a self-pass, and Peters Township has the fast start that it had last week. Second straight game in which the Indians have scored in the first minute of play. That's a good way to get things going. Caven Fisher shovels this one ahead for Peters Township, dressed in the white, as you might imagine, with the red helmets, red pants, red and black trim on the jerseys. Back out to the line, and Kobe Ringwald. His shot was weakened on the way and forced back out the center by Mount Lebo. On the take here, Nathan Tran. He whips it off the side glass, and down it goes into the neutral zone, forced right back in by Peters Township. PT on the year 2-1, Mount Lebo 1-5. Mount Lebo in 10th place out of 11 teams in Class AAA. Peters Township, by points alone, middle of the pack, but when there's this wide disparity between games played among the teams in the division, hard to really take the standings too seriously at the moment, as Williams will stop this behind his net. Maeda at the near side boards, working with a 1-0 lead. It's driven in deep by Jacob Lehman, leading goal getter for Mount Lebo, 4 on the season. But Zach Palmieri and the Indians force it out to center ice again. Here's Maeda on the chase. Scored a rebound goal up in Erie last Tuesday. Couldn't make anything happen below the goal line. Mount Lebo goes to work now on the transition game. On this near side, Patrick Tetlow, 1 assist on the year. Pulls up, fed it to the far corner. Tran steps to with a freshman defender. Overskated though, and PT clears it. Official scoring on that first goal, Ryder Mertens from Camden Martin. Martin gets an assist, his first point of the year, at 47 seconds of the opening period. Just a couple of minutes gone in this one. 4th regular season game for Peters Township, brought to you by Steel City Spine. And go to 10band.tv for more information on how you can get involved and get your business some exposure on our platform. Toss out by Anthony Lebalarte, who sat out the last game. As usual, we see Rick Tingle working in some new players early in the year, making sure everyone gets their skates under them. Centering pass in front and a chance there for Cole Newpaver, but he was denied by Martin. Austin Martin helped author an upset win over Cannon Mac a couple of years ago in the Penn's Cup playoffs. Here's a turnover there and a chance, and Williams makes his first save on the Mount Lebo opportunity. It was Matt Gates. No slouch himself, 5 points so far on the year, 3 goals and 2 assists. Puck out of play, and we get a stoppage. Less than 4 minutes into this one. Peters Township, I said in the pregame, owns 7 Penguins Cup crowns, including 3 over the past 9 years. And each of those years, they went on to win the state, too. That's taking advantage of your opportunities. At the second intermission, I want you to stick around because we have a special highlight video remembering the championship run of last spring. How exciting it was to see PT add a 6th star to that logo. So keep it here for the period break. Top line out there for Peters Township. Kovac stays on side. Malley swings it to the wide side. Now he pulls up, left it there for Tomko, trying to pull it out of his skates. He's bumped down on the check from Nick Morgan. This is Kovac, wheeling it out high. Lost his edge, but he got it off the ring wall, wristing it, blocked in front, and the Blue Devils able to finesse it out to center. Braden Wirtz getting it there, but a quick re-entry. Ringwald shot it, and that's off Martin. Weird bounce in front. Chance again at the side of the net. Score! It's Tomko. A bouncing puck in front. Nobody knew where it was except for number 28 in white. Will Tomko's got his 5th goal of the year. After the deflection of the shot from the outside by Ringwald, as you see here on replay, it bounced off the glass right in front, hit a skate of one of the Blue Devils, that was Liam Shin, and right to Tomko, who whipped it by Martin before Martin even knew what was going on. So the element of surprise pays off for PT, and at 4:03 of the first period, they lead it 2-0 already. Peters Township early in this season hasn't played a lot, but like I said, they have filled the net when they have, averaging nearly 5 goals per game, 4.7 to be exact, and here they are with 2 in the opening 4 minutes. Probably an unsustainable pace, but when you get 2 early, that makes things a heck of a lot easier for everybody, including your sophomore goalie who's making his first start at this level. Back out to the line, Wesley Forrester, first-year varsity player. The Indians working around to this near corner, and it's Ringwald again, playing a ton of ice, getting a ton of ice time, as you would imagine this season, as a senior, guy who helped lead the attack last season from the blue line. Puck intercepted by Mount Lebo, and they stash it down the ice. This goes for an icing call on the no-touch. At this level, you'll see that. Doesn't matter who's going to win the race, so to speak, as you see at higher levels of hockey, especially in the NHL, where we've had hybrid icing for a few years. Still no-touch icing at the high school level. Takes some of that burden away from the officials, and probably a good thing, considering there are just 2 on the ice in regular season games in the PIHL. Palmieri takes this draw, turns to his forehand to win it back to Maeda. He was hooked up, it appeared, but play's going to continue on. Looking up this near side, a lead pass was deflected and forced right back into Peters Township real estate. Caven Fisher takes the handoff from his goaltender Williams. Fisher to Maeda, one-touch pass, a little soft and picked off by Callan Wilcox. Wilcox hands off a wrister in front, and that got blocked. Dunn got it to the front. Now to the top of the crease, and Matt Gates is denied by Williams, and Williams hangs onto the puck. No penalties yet in this one. A couple of even strength goals for Mertens and Tomko have Peters Township up by a deuce at home. I'm Matt Gajtka. This is 10 Band TV. Thanks to Todd Kazarowski and crew for putting on the show again tonight. We'll be back here again next Tuesday for what is usually a highly competitive game between Peters Township and North Allegheny. But for right now, PT worried about the team in front of him, the Blue Devils of Mount Lebo, one of the longest tenured high school hockey teams in the state. This PIHL setup all got started in the 70s, as there's a backhand chance in front for Alexander, but he couldn't get it cleanly on goal. Back to the point. Good job there to at least keep it from getting behind him by Caven Fisher, but eventually he stumbled back and could not hold the blue line. Speaking of the blue line, now back in Mount Lebo's possession. Working up the left wing side and pulling up for a pass was Shin. That was intercepted. Pardon, that was Lehman, actually. The Blue Devils trying to regroup. Instead, they just hand it right back to Peters Township and Joey Wateska. He hammers it ahead. Wateska, the junior, also in his first year playing at this varsity level. 5 out of the 6D active right now for Peters Township didn't play last year for the varsity team. Only Kobe Ringwald returns. Rich Woods did as well, but he's on the injured list, so to speak, at the moment. Mertens goes down low. Here's a pass in front of the net, looking for Malley, but did not connect. On back to Peters Township territory. Hudson Phillips, one of those newcomers, feeds it over to the near wing. Wateska, his partner, saucers one ahead. Mertens took the shot. Pad saved by Martin. Ryder Mertens bidding for goal number 2 on the night. Denied there. Now Maeda on the forecheck. Mertens pulls it free, or pardon, that's Martin, I should say. He takes the shot, ends up into the corner on the deflection. Here is Mertens to Charlie Caputo. Caputo has been good on this shift as well. Out by the line and flushed out by Mount Lebo. Wirtz with a high toss, wide of Williams' goal. It is Ethan Williams in net for Peters Township. Made a couple of saves early on. He's got his feet under him, and he's got a 2-0 lead to work with, thanks to his teammates. One of them who has the puck right now. Mertens trying to break his way right into the goal, but could not. Good pass back for Malley's shot. Save made by Martin. Loose puck in the slot, and picked up by the Blue Devils and fed off the boards and out. Strong start for Peters Township. They appear to be effective, as they will be the beneficiary of this icing. They appear to be effective on every shift in every phase of the game. They've scored off the transition. They've scored off of long-term offensive zone possession, if you will. Ryder Mertens has his first goal of the year to go with an assist. And Will Tomko's got his 5th goal of the year. 10 total points for Tomko. Tomko, who led Class AAA in scoring as a freshman last season. Offside here against PT. And so the faceoff's going to come out into the neutral zone. Last year at Printscape, these two teams met in October, the 19th to be exact, and Peters Township pulled out a thrilling 6-5 win with Ben Kovac scoring a hat trick, including the game-winning goal in the 3rd period. We had that for you, in fact, on 10-band TV. Centered out in front, but the Indian open in the slot could not lasso that in. That was Kovac. Instead, it's Klasnick, the leading returning scorer for Mount Lebo. Just 3 points last season. That tells you where the Blue Devils are right now, trying to find some new guys to depend on. Speed Stasiowski, Chase Stasiowski, both have done well in the early going. Speed has 6 points, Chase has 3. Gain the line, Liam Shin, tried to drop it back against the grain, but that's taken care of by Peters Township. Push up into the attack end. A little drag move right to the doorstep, and Malley can't stash it in. Good save by Martin as he's stretched out, and he holds the pad down to freeze the puck on the follow-up chance. Austin Malley showing off the mitts, but could not finish it at the business end of that move. What a wonderful opportunity as he danced one of the Mount Lebo defenders right near the face-off circle. And now Martin talking things over with his teammates, who are presumably saying, hang in there, buddy, we're going to have to get better for you at the moment. Speed Stasiowski goes for a skate behind his net. Long delay here. The referees are talking things over. We remain 5-on-5, I think, for right now. Last week was an odd game for Peters Township. I started to say this earlier, but I got sidetracked. PT had played just 2 special teams situations, if you will, in its first 2 games of the year. They had 1 power play and 1 penalty kill, or actually it was 2 penalty kills and 1 power play. So they had 3 penalties in their first 2 games. And then last week at Cathedral Prep, Peters Township played a game in which there were 15 separate power plays. And here's a long talk going on right now between Stasiowski, Speed Stasiowski, and Ryder Mertens, the 2 captains, 2 team leaders. I'm not sure what's going on here. I haven't seen too much after the whistle. And actually the referee is laughing at the moment. So we do have a delay. And we'll take a look at this replay where Malley skates onto a loose puck. And right around one man, and Speed Stasiowski couldn't get back to defend. Malley actually got his own rebound on that chance. Didn't see that live. Malley was on his knee and still backhanded that off the apron of the goal, off the outside of the goal. Okay, we're ready for play. And again, not sure what that was all about. Right to the front of the net. Mertens scores into an open net. 3-0 Peters Township. Camden Martin went forward off the draw, banged it to the front of the net. It deflected off the goaltender, Martin, and right to Ryder Mertens, who was in the right place at the right time. Martin beat Shin off the draw. Looked like a set play, in fact, as Mertens just made a beeline right to the top of the blue paint. Followed the puck in there. It's all legal. It's all good. Mertens has 2 in this game. Peters Township has a 3-0 lead. 3-0 lead at 8:51 of the first. All even strength goals. And a timeout's been called by Mount Lebo and head coach Jeremy Church. Well, tough times right now for Mount Lebo. They've lost 5 in a row. They gave up 5 goals to Cannon Mac on this very same ice surface last Tuesday. They had a 3-1 lead in that game. In this game, it's the opposite. They're down 3-0 early, very early. Not even 9 minutes in to this first frame. Timeout's over, ready to play again. Mertens controls the draw at center ice. Martin helps it back. Here's Troy Jones reaching out. Jones, the sophomore, helping create puck possession here. Fed it on to Martin, now right back in front to Jones. And it did not connect. Gajtka steps up from his point position to force it in deep again. Mertens winning it with good tenacity. Back to the line. Gajtka's wrister, and that's deflected off of Brady Dunn in front of the net and over the goal. Martin wanted to relay that through to Jones. Could not. Didn't connect. Blasted off the boards by Dunn, and out it goes, at least to the neutral zone, to allow Mount Lebo to take a breath. But they haven't been able to take many in this first period. PT all over the Blue Devils. 2 goals for Mertens, as Gajtka's bumped off the puck. 2 for Mertens, 1 for Will Tomko. Ryder Mertens, the 4th-year varsity player. He's been doing this for a while. Made his debut in 2019. Turnover. Here come the Blue Devils. A centering pass from Klasnick did not connect as he paraded down the right wing. Gajtka, long shift for him. He's battling now with Klasnick and Gates. And Gajtka helps pry it loose. Palmieri looking to force it out. And Peters Township does clear. Just one man back for Mount Lebo. He falls down, does Nick Morgan, the defenseman. But he did not turn the puck over. Good work from him. But now Tran hands it over to Peters Township, but PT gives it right back to the Blue Devils. On the move, Speed Stasiowski. Centering one for Gates. Gates got a little too deep, too extreme of an angle. Instead, he feeds it out to Tran for a shot. That deflected wide of the goal. Out to this near side and cleared aerially by PT's Anthony Lebalarte, who wears number 24, senior, but another first-year varsity player. Stasiowski off target with that wrist shot from the left wing. Peters Township and Caputo retrieving that puck. Over to Austin Corbel. Knocks it off the near side wall, and out it goes with help from Lebalarte. Newpaver leading the forward check, but it's passed by him right to the Peters Township defense. Corbel with an assist on the year. Up ahead with that dish. Caputo reaching after it. Couldn't get there in time to keep the puck alive. But again, PT's just going to lather, rinse, and repeat in the neutral zone. Now back in their own territory. Mount Lebo has not had much possession, but here's an icing call against Peters Township. That'll tilt the ice back the other way. Just past the midway point of period number 1, Ryder Mertens has 2 goals. Will Tomko's got 1. Camden Martin has a pair of assists, both primaries on both of Mertens' goals. That last one really stands out. I love that play where the centerman goes forward off the draw, taps it between the legs of the opposing center, and goes and gets it himself. It's that element of surprise. I've talked about it a couple of times tonight. Both times it's worked in PT's benefit, resulting in goals. Klasnick couldn't keep this into the offensive zone for Mount Lebo. Now the Blue Devils dump and chase. But Peters Township's Ringwald delays and filters one up the center of the ice. Out to center. Kovac got in after it to force a turnover. Kovac now trying to pass it toward the front, but that's blocked. Taken over by Micah Gill. His wrist play in deep. Peters Township clears it quickly. Bouncing up toward the Mount Lebo line. Kovac couldn't drag it away from a man, but here comes Tomko, swooping around dangerously. Will Tomko, when he gets the puck, you sit up and pay attention. Now Malley on the give. This top line going to work once more, this time below the goal line, but Kovac lost control, and Ringwald couldn't keep it at the line. He's got to head back for it. One-touch backhand finds his defense partner, Wesley Forrester. Forrester, a fellow senior. Tomko, 1v3, wanted to put it in the skates of a Blue Devil, but defended well, in fact, by Paul Zimick. Credit to him. Senior blue liner on the left side. Pulling up here, Wirtz, looking for a man going to the back post. Nothing doing for the Blue Devils. And a soft shot comes in. It was deflected on Ethan Williams, who elects to keep it. And looks like we have a penalty, our first penalty of the game, and it's going against Peters Township. Austin Malley's headed off for cross-checking at exactly 13 minutes of period number 1. Mount Lebo gets the first period power play. Peters Township has killed off all 10 power plays it's faced thus far in 3 games. Mount Lebo, though, has connected on the power play. Matt Gates has a power play goal. Jacob Lehman has 2 of his 4 on the advantage. And Speed Stasiowski has 1 out of 2 on the power play. Face-off won by Mount Lebo, but too strongly. Right between the 2 men manning the points, that's Brady Dunn, the defenseman, and Matt Gates, the forward. It's like a 4-forward setup for Mount Lebo, but they ice the puck, attempting to break it in. Unforced error for the visiting team, and that gives Peters Township a welcome respite. Best defending is done in the attacking zone, and this will be a good example of that, with Mertens leaning in to take this face off. Mertens pounded it on the drop of the puck, tried to shoot it off the draw, missed the goal. Good way to keep the goaltender off balance. Austin Martin now looks to the corner as Mertens is hounding one of the Blue Devils there. Here's Gates for Mount Lebo, giving it on back to Nick Morgan, who stops up behind his net. Opening minute of this first power play of the night for either side. Mount Lebo's got the advantage with Malley in the box for cross-checking. Behind the net, pushed out to the line. Here's Morgan, confronted there by Martin. Here is Morgan again. Camden Martin reaching in, pried the puck loose, back to the point. Morgan keeps it alive, but the pass returned to him and he couldn't reach it. And a clear for PT with Mertens on the charge. Chasing after this one. Mertens takes a bump. He's still going to keep the puck in the corner. Into the second minute of this penalty kill for Peters Township. Waning moments of the first period with him up 3-0. Drew Alexander couldn't take that pass, and PT beats a hasty retreat. Good speed here from Lehman, wristing, and it's into the glove of Williams, who holds on. Jacob Lehman snapped it off. You can see how he has 4 goals on the year. A lot of speed in addition to that quick release. Still a power play for Mount Lebanon for the next half minute. Klasnick against Martin at the dot, or pardon, Troy Jones actually, 92, not 91. And Jones, the aforementioned 92, controls it, tried to bang it up the far side boards, but the around the horn play doesn't work. Here's Newpaver, though, to send it on down for Peters Township. Jones all over Nathan Tran, who does make a play, but picked off there by Newpaver. Right back in deep it goes. Peters Township doing well on this penalty kill, trying to make it 11 for 11 on the year. Special teams have been good for Peters Township in the early going, especially last game, in that 6-2 win up in Erie. Tran wanted to pull the trigger, but the puck rolled off his stick. Out by the blue line, this is Chase Stasiowski. Blue Devils center, but it's picked off. Lehman, the middle, Chase Stasiowski's wrister, and a pad save by Ethan Williams. Maybe his best in his first varsity start so far. Tran down the wall, picked off, and forced out to center ice. Here's Jones, but the Indians are offside. Breaking in. Back to 5-on-5 play. Final couple of minutes of this first period. We play 17-minute periods in Pennsylvania high school hockey, as is the case at most youth levels, I find. New Paver to take this face-off. He goes forward with it against Braden Wirtz, but here come the Blue Devils as they quickly regroup. From in behind the Peters Township goal. Good work there from Ringwald to break up that play. New Paver trying to rake it along. This is Zach Palmieri, second-year varsity man. Back in behind the Mount Lebo goal. Referee's arm is in the air. We have a delayed penalty, a slashing call against Mount Lebo. Tommy Albach, number 10 in blue, sophomore, heads to the penalty box for the next couple of minutes, he hopes. Mount Lebo with these distinctive blue and gold uniforms. I think they're one of the best dressed teams in the PIHL. Of course, PT always looking classy with their red and black combination. We saw a lot of red the first 3 weeks. First 4 weeks, really. 3 games played for PT coming into tonight. Tied for the fewest in the league, but they're the only game on. Them and Mount Lebo, the only 2 teams playing tonight in AAA hockey in Western PA. So here's the PT power play. 3 for 7 on the season. Up near 40% conversion rate. Tomko, Mertens, wanting to go into the middle, and it's off a Mount Lebo leg. Out to the line it goes, but held in. Kept there with a nice soccer move by Ringwald. Malley, though, lost control of the puck, and the Blue Devils send it down 200 feet. Albach in the box. Say that 5 times fast for Mount Lebo for slashing. First penalty against Mount Lebo tonight. First power play for Peters Township. Williams stops this clear at the side of his goal. A neat handoff for Mertens. Up the far side. Good skating here. This is Tomko wheeling one, and he just missed the top left corner. Will Tomko already a goal in this game for 5 on the season. At the very start of game number 4 on the year. Sent down the ice, high into the air. Knocked down by Tomko, but that's going to do it for period number 1 as the buzzer sounds here at Printscape Arena. Ryder Mertens scored twice. Will Tomko had the other one. Camden Martin with a pair of assists. As we get ready for the second period of play, stay with us on 10 Band TV. Tonight's game brought to you by Steel City Spine. Streaming on Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and the World Wide Web, of course. This is 10-Band TV, presenting high school hockey night live from Printscape Arena in South Point, PA. Peters Township ahead 3-0 on their South Hills rivals from Mount Lebanon. I'm Matt Gajtka, and welcome in again to our broadcast. We have so much high school hockey for you throughout the season, as we are now into month number 2 of the regular season on this November the 1st. And Peters Township continuing its offensive momentum from last week when it scored 6 at Erie Cathedral Prep. They had 3 in that first period as well. Hoping to replicate that result and make sure that they can get into that matchup against North Allegheny next week with a record of 3-1. Still a ways to go, though. PT on the power play for less than a minute here to start this second period. Tommy Albach in the box for slashing, and here's a shot in on goal. That's denied by Austin Martin. I knew I'd do that at least once. No, it's not a James Bond film. Anyway, that was an opportunity there for Jones and Peters Township that Austin Martin, sucked up. Coming into tonight, despite the 1-4 record, Martin had a .915 save percentage and a goals against average under 3. Those are really good numbers in this league. So it hasn't really been on him, as the wrister from center point by Ringwald was deflected over the goal. Power play still on for the next few seconds. Martin pinned to the wall. Gave it to Jones, who pivots, controls, and centers. Right back to him on the bounce. Jones again showing impressive patience, willing to work below the goal line. But Mount Lebo's back to even strength. Albach is out of the box. And out to center the play goes. Cracked off the wall by Caven Fisher. And with a minute 10 gone in the second period, Mount Lebo's going to try to cut into this lead. Last time these two teams met in this building, it was a 6-5 Peters Township win. I mentioned that Kovac had a hat trick. Newpaper handing off. Back to the story in a second as it's turned over to Mount Lebo. Anyway, Mount Lebo came back from 4-1 down to force a tie, 5-5 going into the third period that night. That was last October the 19th, before Kovac scored the winner on the power play in the waning moments. And Mount Lebo got a shootout win against Peters Township at home last November. These teams haven't played in nearly a year. To the middle, Alexander. Pass was in his skates, but he still forced it to the front. Palmieri knocked down after he tried to gather it in, too. Front of the net is not for the faint of heart. Alexander pivots, feeds the point. Gajtka back down the wall. Gajtka and Forrester were out there. Now Caven Fisher jumps over the boards as Peters Township changes on the fly. Ahead by a 3 spot. Early stages, second period. You see the clock at the top right of your device screen. Todd Kazarowski and crew with the production tonight. Alexander to the front. Maeda tried a one-time, a tough one to one-time, as the pass was handcuffing him a bit, and he was also checked from behind rather nicely. Callan Wilcox gloves down the puck inside the line. Blue Devils are onside. Klasnick couldn't make anything happen in tight quarters. Caven Fisher pressing up to the far side boards halfway up. Now to the line. Big shot from the outside by Tran. That was deflected. Peters Township on the counter. Tossed in deep by Kovac. He fights against Tran. Back to the point it goes. A big slap shot. That missed everything. Might have hit a body in front. Now Tomko relays it behind. In front, Kovac, and he fanned on the shot. Tomko tries to wrist it, and he couldn't get anything on that one either. And it bounces out to center ice. This first line does something interesting every time over the boards, it seems. Nothing productive on that shift, though, outside of the offensive zone time. Kovac, Tomko, and Malley, a force to be reckoned with for Peters Township. Derek Lohr lost the puck in his skates, but no harm for Mount Lebo, as they're still able to get the puck out to center, even though Matt Gates couldn't take the pass just over the red line. Gates now pressuring, but fine breakout play from PT. A couple of passes in the end of the offensive zone, but then it's forced back out over the blue line, so they'll have to regroup. Malley overtaken. This is Gates strong on his skates and on his stick. Gates tried to put it between the skates of the defender in front of him. That was Hudson Phillips, but Phillips did well, and now Phillips is on the loose puck. Bouncing it over the stick of Joey Gajtka. Gajtka regrouping. 5 minutes gone in the second period. No score, no penalties in the second period. PT did all its damage in the first. If you're joining us late here on 10-Band TV, you can find all of our games archived as well on 10band.tv, one of the great features of the website. Tomko wristing off the blocker hand of Martin. He punched it over to the near wall. Jones knocked it in deep. From the half-wing wall, up and out it goes from Mount Lebo. To this near side. And up ahead, here comes a chance for PT. D'Amico denied from in close. Or pardon, that was Martin, I should say. Camden Martin. He's been active in this game, and this is an icing against Mount Lebanon. Martin's been effective. His line with Mertens has been out there for a couple of goals generated for Peters Township. Mertens, Martin, and Troy Jones, the forward trio at the moment. As we get a closer look at the draw. The Blue Devils win it. This is Speed Stasiowski. Connecting here with Chase Stasiowski. Chase trying to get to the outside. Liam Shin. To this near wing and Chase. Back to the line. Deflected shot from Tran. And Williams had it covered. Mertens flipped it high in the air and out it goes. Back to Tran. Shooting in. Delayed offside. Wiped out as the Blue Devils tag up. PT can't make anything happen in the neutral zone. Williams stops it, but gave it away to a Blue Devil right in front of the net. It swung by Klasnick, but cleaned up by Peters Township. They collapsed to the house well, did the Indians there. Martin, one-on-one. Camden Martin wants to pull it inside, put off his own left skate, and then the puck skittered away to the side wall. Jones, a blind backhand pass. Thought he had a man, and he did in Mertens, but he was too tightly covered. Working our way toward the midpoint of this second period. 11 minutes to go in it. Wesley Forrester, headman delivery, picked off. Here are the Blue Devils, Wilcox. He elects to fire in for a dump and chase. Up ahead, Mertens, long shift, pulls up, kept the Indians onside, and got it on net, where Martin denied it with the stick. Austin Martin. He's allowed 3 goals so far, but none in the second period. Could say definitely one of the returning studs for Mount Lebo. This is icing against the Blue Devils. 10-10 to play in the second period. Up next for Mount Lebo, they'll be home to Bethel Park next Monday. And Mount Lebanon has already seen half the teams in the league. It's just interesting how the early season schedule shakes out. The faceoff will be at the right circle. Cole Newpaver leaning in against Braden Wirtz. Wirtz won it for the boys in blue. Out to the point. Ringwald tried to fish for it, but couldn't find it. Didn't have the right bait. Out to the Mount Lebo blue line. They try the left wing side. Lehman on the pursuit. He's pinned off the puck, but he gets it right back from Ringwald. Lehman with a centering pass. Rebound off the side of the goal, and it's stopped by Williams. Braden Wirtz with a one-timer off the loose change. Bottom edge of the right circle. Ethan Williams equal to the task. Ethan Williams in his first varsity start, blanking the Blue Devils so far. Mount Lebo this season has played North Allegheny already twice, losing a couple of times. They played Cannon Mac, Central Catholic, Cathedral Prep. There's a blast from the left wing. That didn't get through. Under 10 to play in the second period. Peters Township, meanwhile, has played on the road against Pine Richland, winning the opener, and then falling 4-3 to Seneca Valley, and winning 6-2 last week at Erie Cathedral Prep. No repeats yet on the schedule for PT. Would be hard after just 3 games for that. Alexander pulling up for a shot, and his wrister denied by Martin. He holds for the whistle, and we have a tie-up at the side of the net. Zimic getting into it with Alexander. Zimic for Mount Lebo, and the two combatants are pried apart. Actually, there were four of them right around the net. Tonight's game brought to you by Steel City Spine at steelcityspine.com with 3 locations on Bower Hill Road in Pittsburgh, also in McKees Rocks and Washington, PA. Tomko in after this one. Won it straight back off the face-off. To the line again. Caven Fisher fell down. It's the second time he's fallen. Wonder if there's something up with the sharpness of one of his skates. Could be. He's looked a little bit wobbly on the back pedal especially. At any rate, Gajtka retrieves this for Peters Township. Now midway through the second period, midway through the game, Nathan Tran banged a shot pass behind the PT goal. It ends up. Chase Stasiowski trying to pressure it, but unable to do so successfully. Here's Peters Township and Tomko stepping on the gas, now downshifting. And behind the net, right in front of the goal, it bounces up over the net. Good chance for Malley and company at the doorstep. Corbel sends it down the wood. Malley wanted to give it back to Corbel, but not able to do so. Hooked back against the grain by PT. Here's Ben Kovac, senior stud. Filtered behind the Mount Lebo goal. That's where it's picked up by Tran, but he can't get it beyond the half boards. Kovac in deep. Tomko checked down hard behind the net. But Peters Township continues to work. Malley leveled a Blue Devil in the corner. Here's Tomko down to a knee. Strongly gets the puck. Now in front of that, Kovac, one-timer scores! Kovac put it in off the assist from Malley after Tomko yanked the puck loose. All 3 members of that forward line made a contribution to that goal, and it's 4-0. And Kovac's dart was just inside the right post. Under the glove, it appeared, of Austin Martin. First goal of the frame. Kovac from Malley, and Tomko is going to get an assist on that one. Malley knew that he could pin Martin to the goal line if he just took it to the net from the side of the goal, and he did. And as a result, Martin could not telescope out on his angle to cut down much of that angle. He was at the mercy of Kovac, who put it in for his 5th goal of the season, tying Will Tomko for the team lead. Goal scored at 9:25 of the second period, or with 7:35 left in it. PT back after it. In front, Mertens, shot save by Martin. What a chance. Now Ringwald, score! Kobe Ringwald goes upstairs. He shelved it from the high slot. And Peters Township's star defenseman has his first goal of the year as a senior. He's on the board. PT leads at 5-0. At 9:35 of the second period. 2 goals, 10 seconds apart for the Tribe. Mertens was stopped. He'll probably get an assist as his rebound was unable to be controlled by Mount Lebo. Luke Eberhardt slamming his stick in frustration for Mount Lebo. The junior defenseman knew that puck was up for grabs, but PT won the 50-50 puck yet again. And it is 5-0. Here's Ringwald, the goal scorer, trying to shoot again, and he got all the way through, even though it was partially blocked on the way to the net. Martin had to kick it out, though. 2 goals, 10 seconds apart. Again, it's a quick strike attack for PT. Deja vu from last week when they got 2 goals in 14 seconds from Ben Kovac himself, with assists from William Tomko in those cases. Today, it's Kovac and then Ringwald, 10 seconds apart, to essentially put this one on ice. Don't want to speak too soon, but we're more than halfway through this game, and PT's got a 5-0 lead. Just calling it like I see it. Mount Lebo hasn't been able to generate very much on offense. They keep trying, though, as Shin shoots in and pursues it. But now he heads off for a line change. Peters Township in full possession with 6 minutes to go in the second. Looking up ice, Malley. Played it off a body. Right to the front of the net. Martin holds on. Pardon, that was Caputo. Malley and Caputo, very similar frames and similar numbers, so I apologize to Charlie. Charlie Caputo, one of the first-year varsity players, only had one game played coming into tonight. He's a junior. Caputo in the lineup tonight, so is Jones, Newpaver, Corbel, Wateska, Forrester, Lebalarte, and Phillips. Those are all newcomers for Peters Township, and looking like they're not missing a beat from last year so far. That's what this program does. Scratch tonight, by the way, Bryce O'Donnell and Nathan D'Amico. Also, Jeremy Poon and Porter Erb not in uniform tonight for PT. But all four of those gentlemen also new to this level. Mount Lebo on the transition to the outside. Chase Stasiowski burrowed into the corner, but didn't have much of an option there as he was confronted by a couple of defenders. And a slap shot from the point, gloved and held by Ethan Williams. Nothing further from that. That was a big blast from Nick Morgan out high. Just looking down at the Mount Lebo bench, it appears they have a number 1 on the ice who just stepped out. That's Brian Opferman. He's listed as 81 on my roster, but he's just got the 1. I wonder if the 8 fell off or just one of those home road differentials. Tight angle shot, and Williams shuts this one down on the chance right after the draw for Mount Lebo from Gates, Matt Gates, senior forward. 5:18 to go in the second period. And again, a soft one right on Williams. Ethan Williams, I talk about spreading the playing time around early in the season. Williams getting a look from Rick Tingle and his assistant coaches Cliff Bumford and Chris Claxon. Bouncing around in the low slot. Gates couldn't handle it. Back out to the point. Opferman fanned on the shot. And it caroms out to center. All the way back into Blue Devils territory, in fact. Gates overskated. Alexander takes control. Palmieri sends it further. Bouncing back to the PT goal line. And this is icing against Mount Lebo with under 5 to go in the second. A reminder, coming up after the second period, we have a special highlight reel from last year's state championship game. State championship run, I should say, for Peters Township as they claim both the Penguins Cup and the PIAA, or the state championship, I should say. Hockey is not a varsity sport in Western PA, so it's governed by the PIHL. Tomko with a chance off the face-off win, and he's stopped by Martin. So different governing bodies, and as a result, we have a West Side Championship and an East Side Championship in high school hockey in PA. The Penguins Cup and, you guessed it, the Flyers Cup out that way. Austin Malley's going to take this face-off here. Back to Tomko, and he pumped it right into the belly of Martin, who took that one in a soft spot, and he is down on all fours, even though he held it. Tomko got all of it. The puck found him between the circles. Not the guy you want it to find if you're Mount Lebo, and especially not if you're Austin Martin at this moment. Martin getting peppered. By the way, Brennan Horgan has started one game for Mount Lebo this year, so Martin's not the only tendy who's got some experience at this level. Also, Quinn Lynham is on the bench, the junior, as Martin is taking his time. Referee Schultz giving him some time. In fact, Lynham is the only goalie dressed tonight, so we're not going to see Horgan if we do see a goaltending change. It'll be the junior Quinn Lynham, number 31. On the right side of, on the left side of your screen at the moment, at the bench down to our right. You see the horns there on the Mount Lebo helmets, a nice touch in gold on the predominantly blue uniform. And that Blue Devil logo on the shoulders of those traveling jerseys. Tomko to Malley craftily, back in front of the net. Malley got it back, and he scored! A hard-working goal for the top line of Peters Township. It's 6-zip. Malley from Tomko, also in front of the net, hacking away, was Kovac. I'm not sure he touched it. Malley got the final stick to it. Here you take a look at the replay. Malley actually tried to pass that and then followed up his own rebound on the weak backhand shot. The pickle stab action finds the back of the twine. That's not going to make the highlight reel, but it's going to count all the same. Malley has his 4th goal of the season, and Peters Township has doubled its lead in the second period. 3 in the first, 3 here in the second. To the front of the goal again on a pass. Martin couldn't flag it down. That goal scored at 12:26 of the second period, in case you were wondering. Tonight's game brought to you by Steel City Spine, steelcityspine.com. And poor Austin Martin in the Mount Lebo cage getting peppered. Mertens on hat trick watch, wanted to drag it toward the front, but he was defended. Drop pass from Shin to this near side. Chase Stasiowski, he wanted to stash it to the front of the net, but fended off by PT. Jones takes the handoff. Jones in over the line, and that appeared to be offside, but no, play will continue on as he lost control. Opferman hammers it up the far side, and instead the whistle goes against Mount Lebo on the icing. Maybe a tough break there. It was close at the offensive blue line for Peters Township. 3 goals in this second period in the span of 3 minutes and 1 second. This is Matt Gajtka on the play-by-play call, coming to you remotely tonight. Broadcast originating from Printscape Arena in South Point. On this first night of November, Tuesday night, usually a hockey night here on 10 Band TV. Thank you for joining us. Lead dish for Mount Lebo. Karam softly back into the PT end. Gajtka takes it from his goaltender, Ethan Williams. Backhand stashed in front and held on to by Williams. Chance there for Patrick Tetlow. And yes, you just saw at the bottom of your screen, big thanks to Bubba's Burgers, the restaurant here in the arena, for the Wi-Fi backup. By any means necessary to get these games on the air. That's how we operate. So thanks again to Bubba's and the proprietor, Bubba himself, for getting us on the network. Brady Dunn on his backhand side. Couldn't clear it past Lebalarte of Peters Township. Nick Morgan, though, is strong enough on his stick to get it out. Time ticking down. Latter stages second period. Mount Lebo just looking for something they can build on for the third. Give them a reason to come out with some fire in their belly for the final period. Gates pivoting away from pressure. His backhand pass, though, easily picked off by PT and cleared. Just a couple of minutes ago, Austin Malley reopened his account for his 4th goal of the season. Tonight as well, he's added an assist, so that's 5 total points for Big 98. But he gave that puck away, or nearly did, to Callan Wilcox. Back out to the line. Held in by Paul Zimick. Dumped it deep. Wilcox, again, pivoting to his backhand side, but that pass was interrupted. PT at center, nothing doing. So here are the Blue Devils in transition. Zimick whiffed on a shot. The puck was rolling on him. Back to the front of the net, deflected away from Callan Wilcox, who's hunting a goal. Blast from Dunn. That hit a shin. That of Hudson Phillips of Peters Township in front of the net. Now Phillips gets a stick in there. Bouncing puck. The shot from Wilcox was blocked initially, but he pursued it into the corner. So Mount Lebo with a good offensive zone shift here. Levalarte trying to clear for PT. Cannot get it out. It's held there for a snapshot that's on goal. Williams makes the stop. Dunn stepping back. Feeds it far side. And wristed in by Lohr. Tran stepping up on the forecheck. No, Mount Lebo does have a push at the end of the second period. Tran wristing and off the blocker. Flutters just wide of the net after the save by Ethan Williams. And finally PT gets control and manages to clear all the way back into Mount Lebo territory. Palmieri got a piece of that breakout pass. PT in hot pursuit again, trying to get a 7th on the board. They scored 6 last week. They're now averaging over 5 goals per game. Palmieri teased one up and missed it. He didn't have the saucer spin on that shot. Looked like the puck rode up on his blade. And again, at the end of the second period in these games in the PIHL, the ice does tend to get a little choppy. It can be harder to line up a shot, harder to make a pass. PT's onside here, but they lose control in the high slot. Chase Stasiowski, send it down the wall. Haven't heard much from Speed Stasiowski, number 91 in this game. That's good news for PT as time runs out in the second period. 3 more goals added on in the second for Peters Township. Ben Kovac from Malley, Kobe Ringwald from Mertens and Martin, and Malley from Tomko. That last one making it 6-0 as we prepare for the ice cut and the second intermission. And again, here's a look back as Peters Township returns to home ice for the first time since their state and Penguins Cup championships last spring. Let's relive it right now on 10 Band TV with the help of our friends at Trib Live Media as well. Thank them for the footage. We'll be back after this. Enjoy.
Win it this time. One-timer. Score! Crisscross applesauce. William Tomko. His 10th goal of the varsity season. The freshman just won't stop. His team-leading 21st point. His second power play goal of the year. And Peters does cash in. They take a 1-0 lead with 13:57 to go in the first. Cooper Slavin. Slavin drops it for Alexander. Carson Alexander threw a screen, never made it through. Slavin backhander, score! Listen to your mother and take out the trash. Cooper Slavin makes it 2-0 Peters Township Indians. the captain with his team-leading 12th goal of the season. And it's loose at center and swiped at by Alexander, and that might just about do it. 6 seconds left, 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1. And the Miners' Cup, despite a valiant effort by the Calumet-Midland Big Macs, will stay with the Peters Township Indians. What a conclusion to this one.
Defensive end by Peters Township. William Tomko pushing it ahead, trying to find Ben Kovac. Through center red, Tomko takes it, breaks the zone 1-on-3. Tomko drags, fires, scores! William Tomko puts the mesh in motion, and that wrist shot was just too sweet! Hey, yo, Scott Hall.
Third goal of the playoffs. I mentioned them earlier, and there's the skill of the freshman on display. He picks it up just shy of the center ice red line. He protects the puck on the backhand. You see 5 blue jerseys. You see only 1 white jersey. He was able to protect it, create a little bit of shooting space, and whistle that wrist shot past the left ear of the goaltender, Jonathan Nichols. Peters strikes first, 1-0 Indians.
Breaking it out though. Ringwald, a nice pass. Up the left side, goal! Austin Malley! Shake, bake, shoot, score! 2-0 Peters Township.
We get a view of the cross-ice pass right there, and that's what opens it up. The defenseman went for the big hit, could not get it. And right there is another example that I think we're seeing now, Matt, that part of the plan for Peters Township.
There. And a cue up the AC/DC at the red line. Tyler Garvin just got thunderstruck on a big hit by Richard Woods. The replay here, Woods lined him up. And as soon as the puck gets on his stick, Woods steps up and unleashes the fury.
That one, I think.
Slavin. Give and go. Behind the net, Slavin trying to get around a man. Gets the puck back. Slavin centers in front. Goal! Chase Stauffer stuffs it home. Power play goal for Peters Township. And they take a 3-2 lead with 12:53 left here in the third.
Well, most of the other early power play opportunities, Peters Township really work the puck high, and this time they're below the goal line, and they get Jonathan Nichols looking to the right side, and you see the space there, and Stauffer went right for the post for that space, and the pass from behind the net, and he was able to put it home as the left shot coming out of the corner. As the keeper, it's hard to track that. You need your defenseman to be communicating with you, stick side, glove side. He lost track of it momentarily. Peters made him pay. 3-2 Indians.
Drew Davis trying to clear. As it's stolen by Tomko. Tomko trying to go to Ben Kovac. Finds it in the slot. Goal! Tick, tack, toe. And Malley finishes. 4-2 Indians.
Well, hopefully we have enough of this. It was a little play by Tomko. He knocked the puck out of midair. And right there, he knocks it down, and he starts the counterattack. He's sizing it up, a little backhand off the stick of the Seneca Valley player, and as you called it, tic-tac-toe, they hit the trailing guy. He went up high again on the goalkeeper, Jonathan Nichols. 3 goals up over the glove.
Seneca Valley takes the timeout, but that's the second goal of the night for Austin Malley, and as you mentioned, Tomko got it started, dumps it in.
Peters is quicker to the puck right now.
Stauffer drops it back. Mertens in the slot. Scores! Might have been deflected, but Ryder Mertens pushes it towards the net. And Peters Township tells the fat lady to put the hot dog down and start singing. The Indians are 2:38 away from the 2022 Penguins Cup.
Well, that puck came up the right wing boards, and the Seneca player was just too casual, allowing it to stay in. He went for a change, and this play continued in their D zone. And Mertens right there threw a screen, beat Nichols to the stick side. And Peters Township now is sitting 2 minutes and 38 seconds away from their 7th Penguin Cup championship.
Net's empty. Back with it comes Peters Township. Kovac into the zone. Empty net shot and a goal! Whoop! Cassiola from center red hits the empty net, and Peters Township with a commanding 6-2 lead, 53 seconds away from raising the AAA Penguins Cup as the student section lights it up.
Well, they called Nichols when he didn't really have great possession to get it in deep, and he continued on, and it left the net wide open. And Cassiola found it, put it into the net. And you got to warm up the bus now. 6-2 Peters Township. They're going to be skating around with their 7th Penguin Cup championship here in 53.1 seconds.
Valiant effort by...
Did not fall to the Raiders on their forehand. I mean, they played well, but it was just too much Peters Township when they needed it. They made the plays, and they, more importantly, Matt, they made the shots when they had the opportunity, picking the corners.
Centering try here. Battle for it in the corner. Final 5 seconds. We'll let the crowd count it down for. Cue up the Queen in Peters Township tonight. As Freddie Mercury said, we are the champions, my friend. Peters Township, your 2022 Class 3A champions, as they knock off Seneca Valley by the final score of 6-2. We'll take a break, and we'll be back to recap it for you. The Peters Township Indians, the 2022 Penguins Cup champions. You're watching the 2022 Penguins Cup High School Hockey Playoffs on the Trib Live High School Sports Network.
Harris and Martins on the draw. It's swept free in the slot, back to the point, high and wide. Off the stick of Ringwald, rebound, they score! Rebound, Harris along the boards, unable to clear. Shot on score! Camden Martin ties it at 2. Against Matt Harris. Puck tied up in the circle, off the draw. Purdy makes a save, rebound, they score! Caleb Kovac makes it 3-2 Peters Township here in the first for the Indians. Tomko into the offensive zone. What a move! Tomko denied! Rebound, Purdy falls on top of it. Kovac in front, blocked down by Doherty. 45 remains on the two-man advantage. Tomko changes direction, they score!
Austin Malley ties the game at 4 with 5:50 to play here in the second period. Tomko in on the left wing, gives it in the slot, off the post, rebound, score! The Peters Township faithful are going wild. William Tomko makes it 5-4 Indians. Eric Ty is the president of the Flyers Cup, the eastern side of the state championship games here. And Eric, but this Peters Township team has looked strong, which is something you don't see. There are not many AAA public school teams, but you have one here in Peters Township, and they're hanging with the Friars stride for stride.
Absolutely. This might be last team with the puck, last team with the shot on goal win.
Yeah.
One of those situations maybe. In the intermission of the first game, I had John Muchin, who's my counterpart out in Pittsburgh, and I said, look, you want all the West teams to win, I want all.
Yeah.
I want all the East teams to win. I want bragging rights, man. I want bragging rights. So regardless, we're going to be 2-1. Regardless of what happens here, I want 3-0.
Well, there you go. We shall see what will happen coming up.
I was just down there with the Malvern fans. I told them all, relax, breathe easy. 8-6 final, Malvern.
Oh.
8-6 final, Malvern.
Oh. That is calling for a big third period, sir.
I want a clean sweep.
Well, we shall see how it will go. We will find out here as we head toward period number 3. That is Eric Ty. He is the president of the Flyers Cup, and he's in the offensive zone. Harris skates in front, denied, rebound is gobbled up. Nolan Hilbert, a brilliant stop to deny Caden Canal on the doorstep. Jet seat for Malvern Prep. Will race the other way, in on the left wing. Shot on as it's a huge hit delivered by Woods. Harris rolls it down low. Huge hit between Woods and Jacobs as the puck is cleared to Masucci and out to center. Won by Jacobs. Here's Harris, shot deflected down. Rebound back to the point. LaRock keeps it in, 10 seconds to go. Campbell down low, trying to get it in front. Campbell shoots high and wide. Rebound back to the point. It's taken away. It's Mertens. It's the final 5 seconds. Peters Township is going to win the AAA state title. A brilliant game. Third period managed perfectly by the Indians. And it's Peters Township, your AAA state champs.
Well, that was fun, wasn't it? Seeing all the blonde heads from the springtime brings back good memories. And again, thank you to our friends at Trib Live, HSSN, and also out in the East, the SFBN Philadelphia Sports Fan Base Network for the footage and for allowing us to use that for our own purposes here, our own celebratory purposes here on our weekly Peters Township broadcast on 10band.tv. And you just saw there the shot from our Todd Kazarowski from Printscape of the 2022 embroidery, I suppose you could say, on those two banners that hang on the far side of the rink from this perspective. One for the Penguins Cup, one for the state championship. You also saw in 2021, PT won the regular season as well. It's a tradition of success, safe to say, here at South Point. And for Rick Tingle and his team, they, over the years, have built something spectacular. It's my honor to be a part of it. As we begin the third period from South Point, this is Matt Gajtka again on 10band.tv. Tonight's game sponsor is Steel City Spine Orthopedic Center, found at steelcityspine.com. 3 locations. Get that back and neck pain taken care of with help from Steel City Spine. In front of the net, score! Mount Lebo gets on the board. The Blue Devils will not be shut out as it's Kellen Wilcox guiding it in with that one-timer down to one knee. The right-handed shooter from the inner edge of the left circle popped it inside the right post against goaltender Ethan Williams. So Williams is perforated for the first time in his varsity career, and well, that was just a solid play from below the goal line. Always tough for goaltenders. We've seen it a couple of times. You have to honor the behind-the-net side of the net play, so you cannot come out to cut down the angle too much, and that's what played Williams on that one. So Mount Lebo scores. We talked about quick strikes for PT the last 2 weeks. There's one at the start of the third period to make it a 6-1 game. So maybe a little wake-up call here for the Indians. Very early stages, third period, as the ice is refreshed. Martin, we saw him score in the state championship game in that highlight package we just played for you between periods. That was a thrill, was it not? Here comes Ryder Mertens. Mertens in front of the net. Score on the redirect against the new goaltender in net, Quinn Lynham. Peters Township on the pass from Mertens gets a goal from Troy Jones, his second in 2 games. Mertens put it into the slot. Really, it was a 2-on-3, but Jones just beat a couple of defenders to the front of the goal. He out-hustled the Blue Devils. And that is a rude greeting for Quinn Lynham, the junior goalie, to restore the 6-goal lead. 2 goals in the opening 120, one for each side in this third period. 7-1, Peters Township on Jones's second of the season, second of his varsity career. And that was deft, that backhand one touch. Here's an opportunity. One of the Blue Devils went down in a heap, lost his stick. That was Eberhardt to the side of the goal. Score! The blast from Wesley Forrester on the pass from Joey Wateska. Drew Alexander involved in the play too. And there was Alexander giving it back to Wateska's shot. Might have been deflected on the way. Newpaver made a drive-by, but that one ended up bouncing in. I thought initially it was deflected, but it might have just bounced off the ice and into the goal. Behind Lynham, who has faced 2 shots and 2 goals have gone in behind him in the opening 144 of this third. As far as I can tell, this is the first varsity action for Quinn Lynham, and his shot score! Make it 3 goals on 3 shots! What a rip by Kobe Ringwald. Talk about throwing a dart with a wrist shot. He goes top left corner for a 9-1 Peters Township lead. How about this response? On the turnover, Ringwald steps in, and boy, was that ever perfect. High over the blocker hand. 3 goals in under a minute for PT to make it a 9-1 game. And that'll trigger the running clock here in the third period. Probably, thankfully, for the Mount Lebo side, who have already lost 5 games in a row. It's about to be 6. They beat Cathedral Prep in the opening game of the season. Since then, 5 losses in a row, and they're down 9-1 tonight early in the third period. Well, that went from mildly interesting in terms of the margin of this game to totally out of reach for Mount Lebo. And Quinn Lynham hangs onto this puck at the side of his net. He's got to be wondering what is happening right now. That is something else. 3 goals in the first, 3 goals in the second, 3 goals here in the third, and we still have 14 minutes to go in the third period. Like I mentioned, the clock will be running if the margin stays the same. This is onside as the snapshot from the right point goes wide of the net, into the near corner, and hoisted out to center ice by Peters Township. Some of those names you heard from in the highlight video, some of the names you saw doing big things for Peters Township do return. Guys like Tomko, like Malley, like Mertens. In goal, guys like Nolan Hilbert, who's off to a 2-0 start this season. Here's a newcomer, though. Caputo put it wide of the net on the cutback move. When you can cut to your forehand, it's always a strong position, and Caputo knew that. The lefty swooping across the offensive zone, but off target with the shot. Kovac, there's another guy we've heard from in seasons past, and he's up to his usual tricks in his senior season. Kovac's got a couple of points tonight. Jones, Forster, his first as an Indian, and Ringwald, your goal scorers in this third period. In case you stepped away for a second, you missed a lot. Mount Lebo scored in the opening 30 seconds of this period to make it 6-1. But now it's all about making sure you stay safe, stay healthy, for Peters Township especially, going into that big collision with North Allegheny. The only team in Class AAA prior to tonight who'd scored more goals per game than Peters Township was North Allegheny. The Tigers and PT, they seem to be carbon copies of each other, just North and South Hills, as this wrist shot from Caven Fisher ends up under Lynham in front of his net. And another great look at the championship banners and the sponsors of those banners: Donaldson Supply, Opeka Auto Repair, Prime One Builders, the Jim DeLanch Real Estate Team, and, hey, what's that one? 10 Band Productions. I didn't know we were ensconced in in cloth on the far side of the rink. I did not look closely enough at that one. So thanks for the close-up. This is an icing call against Mount Lebo. Clock continues to run, though. Good problem to have, but PT's run out of room on those championship banners. Couple more, and they'll have to roll it over to a new one or find a new way to squeeze in some numerals. 7 Penguins Cup championships. 3 of those in Class AAA, 4 of them in Class AA, and then 6 state titles. That's split evenly between AAA and AA. PT won 3 in a row in the mid-2000s, and then this recent run of success, in which they're in it seemingly every year, 3 in 9 years, both Penguins Cup and state championships. 2013, 2017, 2022. Now we're on to the 2022-23 season. And PT's got another strong start under its belt. About to be 3-1 after tonight. This is gunned down the ice. And this will be a live puck, no icing here. Passing the skates of Mount Lebo's Brady Dunn. So back go the Blue Devils to try to recover and regroup. New paver on the forward check for Peters Township. And springing out to center is Matt Gates. Gates in over the line down the left wing side. Try to set a pass in front. That was blocked. Nearing 10 minutes to go in this game. This third's going to go a little faster unless Mount Lebo mounts a heck of a rally. Alexander goes cross-rink to find some open space and an open player. Diagonal dish looking for New Paver. That's over his stick, bouncing below the goal line for an icing. All right, so coming up for PT, they've got North Allegheny. I mentioned Bethel Park is up next for Mount Lebo, by the way. North Allegheny next Tuesday. And then we'll see the third and final game of this homestand. On the 15th, the Vikings invade Printscape. Also a Tuesday game, also a 7 o'clock start. Next 2 games are 7 o'clock starts, and you'll see them right here on 10band.tv. And I'll be on the call, Lord willing. Great to be back in hockey season. I've called some football this fall, but the rink just feels like home. And like I mentioned, my pleasure to be part of this program and all that it's done. This is my 8th season calling Peters Township hockey. Not to be cliched, but yeah, it is hard to believe. Sometimes it feels like I've been part of the program for longer, though. It's just weird how time works in that way. As Tran couldn't get it out for Mount Lebo. The pass went away from Speed Stasiowski. And again, the Blue Devils hemmed in their own end. Alexander trying to pursue this. Instead, it's Paul Mary laying a body check. A bit softly. No one's headhunting right now, that's for sure, in a 9-1 game. Paul Mary spun around Tran. Indians have the puck again. Alexander looked to find Paul Mary in front, but that was broken up. Alexander on the battle. Play continues back into the Mount Lebo zone. The two teams combined for 4 goals in the opening 2 minutes and 7 seconds of this period. PT has scored the final 3 of that burst, or did score the final 3 of that burst. There still could be more coming up, of course, even with the running clock. Stasiowski's wrister denied on the way, never got through to Ethan Williams, who's on his way to his first varsity win in his first varsity start. Camden Martin tried to set sail. No go. Now Brian Opferman ladles this one ahead for Mount Lebanon. Caven Fisher gets the return pass from his defense partner. Fisher, the first-year defender for the Peters Township varsity team, number 63. You can tell the pace has slowed down a little bit here. Fisher wanted to put it in the skates of a Blue Devil, but did not work out. Instead, it's his defense partner, Gajtka, peeling back. His pass ahead. That didn't connect either. Now Fisher goes to Gajtka. Play bogs down in the corner as Callan Wilcox, the goal scorer for Mount Lebo, gets involved physically. Ethan Williams glances over his shoulder with a wary eye as the puck rotates to the near side. PT couldn't clear initially. Now it's Fisher. Off to Gajtka. Quickly down to 7 minutes to go in the third period. PT up 9-1, pardon me. It was 6-0 after 2. It was 3-0 after 1. This is an icing against Peters Township. And hey, why not? Take some of that pressure off right now with the clock continuing to roll. Ryder Mertens has 2 goals. But other than that, the scoring has been spread around quite nicely. 8 different goal scorers. Also, Gajtka with a couple of assists on back-to-back goals in this third period. A shot redirected toward the front and ends up behind the net. Never got on goal. Ethan Williams stretched out with a left pad, but didn't have to save it. 6:13 left in the third. The Indians put pressure on. Drew Alexander forces a pass up ice, but it's Gates for Mount Lebo. He's got a man behind him, tried to take on a couple of defenders on his own, and his backhand shot was deflected over the bar. Why did it pick up? If I had to pick a player of the game for Mount Lebo, I'd probably call it Gates. Right to the front. Caputo falling down. Got the shot on net, though. Wonderful effort. Anyway, Gates has been consistently dangerous for Mount Lebo. No surprise. He had 5 points, one off the team lead coming into tonight. On goal, and here's the new goaltender, Lynham, taking no chances. Out above his crease. Holds for a face-off. Looking further down the schedule page for Peters Township, they'll play at Mount Lebo the week after Thanksgiving, Monday, November 28th. So just like last year, the two teams will play in the opening couple of months, and then that's it, barring a playoff meeting. And from the looks of this one, I'm not sure Mount Lebo is going to be able to mount that, but there's plenty of time, of course. You've got to be in the top 8 out of 11 teams to make the Penn's Cup playoffs this upcoming spring. But Mount Lebo is about to drop to 1-6. That's a lot of points that they've already squandered, assuming they do lose here tonight. Penalty on the way. Penalty coming up as PT was on the forward check hard. Ripped down the ice, back in the possession of Peters Township. We haven't had a penalty since the first period. This one's about to be called against PT, though. And it's Will Tomko. Called for roughing. Your referees tonight, Schultz and Marsh. Luppy and Stasiowski helping out off-ice official-wise in the scorer's area, in the area between the two penalty boxes. So Mount Lebo gets its second power play of the night. Back to normal for PT. Not a special teams game here this evening after we saw 15 total power plays in their game against Cathedral Prep last week. Gates shooting, and that was blocked. Wesley Forrester giving up the body, up 9-1. Coaches got to love that. Also, they don't want to see him hurt, but Forrester was not willing to concede that chance to Gates. Martin trying to deke around the defender, Morgan. The puck squirts in on goal, and Lynham held it long enough to get a whistle. I'm not sure he was trying to get a whistle, but it ends up happening anyway. With an 8-goal lead, the clock continues to run. PT reached double digits a couple times last year. They're 1 goal away from that mark. They also got to 9 once last season. It was a high-scoring outfit, even more so than usual for PT. Against some of the lower teams in the standings, they completely beat them up. They scored 6 against Mount Lebo last year, but it was a pretty strong Blue Devils squad. It was a 6-5 win for PT here against Mount Lebo last October. And then a 3-2 shootout win for Mount Lebo in the return meeting last November. PT's about to make a strong opening statement in the season series, though, here tonight, with Chase Stasiowski getting the line. Blue Devils are onside. Bounce the pass toward the front. Here's an opportunity on his knees, getting a backhand away. Jacob Lehman, the leading goal scorer for Mount Lebo, but Williams made the easy save. Wasn't much on that shot. Deflected past Brady Dunn at the point. Dunn ran into one of the Indians, but play continues on. Could have been interference, I thought, but not called. Here on the first day in November, Peters Township went 2-1 in October, trying to start the 11th month on the right foot. They're about to. Chance for Stasiowski, but he put it off the body of one of the PT defenders. Deflected off to the high glass. That was Phillips who blocked it. And cleared down the rink. Chasing it here, Kovac. He's going to get there. No icing on the play, by the way. Ben Kovac turning this way and that. Killing some time with his team up by 8. Kovac meanders into the offensive zone. Avoids a check. No, it is offside. As, he eventually lured Alexander to take a step into the offensive zone, triggering the whistle. Down to the final 2 minutes of this one. There you see on the close-up, it was Cole Newpaver on the face-off. PT still shorthanded. It's an extended power play with the running clock. Chipped out the center. PT might have a 2-on-1 if they hurry. Pass to Newpaver. Is that onside? No, it is not. It ended up going behind him. He had to reach back into the neutral zone on the backhand, the right-handed shooter, Newpaver, and dragged it in with, I think, Martin on that far side going offside. But PT back to full strength. They've killed off both power plays in this game, and they are now 12 for 12 on the season, on the PK. Can't get much better than that. Newpaver will take this face-off. 1:19 to play in the third period. In deep in the Mount Lebo zone, Nick Morgan turned it over. Into the front of the net, it's Martin, score! Martin redirects it home, and PT does get to the decade mark, 10-1, with just 17 seconds left, or pardon me, 1:05 left in the third period. Martin from Maui, who made the pass. Don't forget about Newpaver, who forced the turnover. He's not going to get an assist because he never touched the puck, but he might as well get a secondary. Newpaver knocked over Morgan. The puck floated right to Maui, who knew where he was going with that one. He had the open man Martin in front of the net, and Camden Martin has a goal to go with a couple of assists tonight. 10-1 Peters Township, final minute of play. Indians in possession, front of the net. Fisher had to fish it out of the skates of his goaltender, Williams, and Palmieri and company make the play out to center ice. Good check from Palmieri in the neutral zone, by the way. Fisher defends the front of the net. Final 20 seconds. Final rush, perhaps, for PT, or for either side in this game. Jones pulls up. Loose puck. Palmieri, he scores! How about that? Zach Palmieri pops the water bottle with another shot to the top left corner. We saw Ringwald go there in this third period, and Zach Palmieri has his first varsity goal. Congratulations. He gets it before the buzzer Time's going to run out on the running clock, and that's it. Indians win. Indians win, not before Palmieri scores on a bit of a broken play, but he surprised Lynham with the high-rising wrist shot to make it an 11-1 final at Printscape Arena. A fantastic start to the home schedule for Peters Township. They went 2-1 on the road, and they win their home opener here tonight, November the 1st, as they recommemorate their championship season last year with a strong statement, as I said, against Mount Lebo. 11-1 your final, as the teams will shake hands at center ice. Total point getters on the night. Ryder Mertens ends up with a 4-point night, 2 goals and 2 assists. The Indians captain lives up to the billing for sure. Kobe Ringwald scores 2 from the blue line. Joey Wateska had 2 assists. Camden Martin with a 4-point night as well. 1 goal and 3 assists as he scores in the final couple of minutes. Troy Jones a goal and an assist. Austin Malley with a goal and 2 helpers. Also Drew Alexander gets an assist. Ben Kovac scores a goal, and Zach Palmieri, again, we see a first varsity goal for a member of the tribe. Again, congratulations to number 7, Zach Palmieri, who strikes right before the buzzer here tonight. Great being with you. Next broadcast coming up on 10band.tv. We'll be right here at Printscape Arena. North Allegheny comes calling the Tigers and the Indians next Tuesday, November the 8th at 7 p.m. Broadcast starting at approximately 6:55. You can watch it, of course, on the web as well as Roku TV and Amazon Fire TV. And again, a final thanks to our game sponsor tonight, Steel City Spine at steelcityspine.com. For Todd Kazarowski and crew, this is Matt Gajtka saying good night from Printscape. Talk to you next week.